How do you think?
I think yes.
Yeah. So let me say a few words about today's lecture. I'm happy to present the start of the second lecture in our virtual model of academic mobility, which is about Ukrainian and global security issues, threats to sustainable development. And today I'm happy to present to our professors of our Sumy State University, the Department of Economics, Entrepreneurship and Business Administrations. They are Leonid Melnik and Alexander Kubatka. And let me say a few words about these people. First, about the Professor Leonid Melnik. He is a doctor in economics and professor of our department. And at the same time, he is a director of the Research Institute for Development Economics. He has professional training in Australia, Belgium, Czech Republic, Germany, Ghana, Japan, Lithuania, Latvia, the Netherlands, New Zealand, and the USA. Leonid Melnik is an honorary researcher of the Research Center of Western Energy Economy and Regional Development, Economics Institute of the Xi'an University of Finance and Economics in China, and he has an award of Canadian Association named after Anna and Petro Petruk. He is an author of more than 200 publications, scientific and educational ones, and 30 of them are indexed by the Scopus and Web of Science databases. Also, he is an author of more than 30 scientific publications related to sustainable development and the third, fourth, and the fifth industrial revolutions, and about 30 papers at the scientific conferences during the 5 last years. And of course, one of his famous lectures you can hear today. He is a leader of more than 100 research and educational projects on international, national, and local levels, and they are implemented in Ukraine and other countries. And among these projects are about 30 international, which were financed by the European Union, TATSIS, the World Bank, NATO, British Council, and other international and national organizations. And I'd like to say a few words about Alexander Kubatka. I can't, is he today?
Yeah, Irina, I'm here.
I can't just see it. Okay, so he is a doctor in economics and associate professor of the Economics, Entrepreneurship and Business Administration Department at Sumy State University, and he had professional training in Sweden, Czech Republic, Lithuania, Moldova, and other countries. Also, he is an author of more than 30 scientific and educational publications. Among them, more than 20 are indexed by Scopus and Web of Science databases. And many of his publications are related to the European Union. He also famous researcher because he participated in 7 research projects, and including 5 international projects, like Jean Monnet model. He's a Jean Monnet model holder. He participated in Erasmus programs, bilateral projects, and others. So as you can see, our lecturers today are really experienced in the sphere of industrial revolution, sustainable development, and I think that it will be interesting to listen to him today. And I invite you to ask questions in the chat or orally. So can you, maybe somebody want to say something else? Maybe Vitaly, maybe Anne, or maybe somebody else?
Yes, dear colleagues, I want to say some words about our event, about such event. When we speak about nowadays, we speak about period of globalization. When we speak about Ukraine and all the world, we speak about period of war. Today, it's very important to speak about Ukraine, to speak about process which we have in Ukraine, about war and about global changes, because this war show for all world global changes which we have now. So we speak about, in our first seminar, we spoke about agriculture, we spoke about food security. Today we will speak about industry and another sector of our life. It's very important now to analyze what situation we have in Ukraine, what future challenge we will have, and how to find ways from problems which we have now. As Professor Leonid told, now we have a lot of opportunity and we need to use all our advantages which we have in Ukraine, our resources, our climate, our people, and other resources. Because speaking about Ukraine, we are the richest country in the world, but now we need to find very good ideas how to use all our resources and how to create very powerful country, independent country, country which situated in the central part of Europe, and country which accumulate all civilization ideas which we have now. And I agree with Professor Leonid. He told about science technology. I agree with him that we need to use all science technology, because speaking about Ukraine, we country which create a lot of space technology. And now it's very important to use modern technology in agriculture, in industry, in military sector. And if we accumulate all our resources, and the main resources, people who live in Ukraine and who live abroad, we have a very good future. But today we need to cooperate, we need to fight, and I think we will win. And our lecture, our webinar, it's very good idea, because all of us science, all of us students, and it's our job, it's our main idea what we need to do now. We need to organize such event, we need to speak, and I think we will have good results. Thanks for all for these events. I think today we will have very good dialogue. Thank you very much.
Hello, thank you, Vitaly. My name is Ann Legier. I'm at the University of Maryland. I'm not sure that many people are here from Maryland. We're at the end of our semester and people are very busy preparing for graduation as well and exams. I'd like to tell you just a few things. I know within campuses in the United Kingdom, I would think Europe and the United States, several universities are joining up with Ukrainian universities to host these kinds of online collaborations where students in Ukraine are able to participate and continue their education. I know within our campus, a proposal has been presented to our president and our provost about possibly doing a little bit more with we're 13 colleges on this campus. So right now our collaboration is within just my college, and there's talk about expanding it to other colleges like College of Education. We have a very robust engineering program here. The chemical, various sciences, economics is, I think, also very highly ranked. Anyway, and it's the kind of thing that unfortunately we're going into the summer. So with campuses here in the United States, there's probably a lot of loss of momentum, but there's a number of us who are very concerned about keeping this momentum going. And I hope that I'll have some good news in the future about continuing our collaboration and increasing it.
Okay. Can I start? No?
Yes, please.
Okay, Alexander. I would like to tell a few words before my lecture. As already Vitaly mentioned, now we are in some phase transition to a new society where the information and people will be the main principal resources of the society development. Maybe a few months ago, I delivered my lecture about industries, modern industrial revolutions, industries third, fourth, and fifth. And now my lecture will be like continuation of my previous lecture. And at that time, I did not suppose that soon will be so hard our condition related to the war, real war. So I would like to tell how the modern industrial revolution related to the security of social economic system and how can relieve our surviving during the war, our Ukrainian society. I'll try. Pardon, now I'll try to manage. Okay, you can see the plan of this lecture, and because of a very shortage of time, I'll try to concentrate my and your opinion on the most important items in this lecture. So security of social economic system might be explained like ability of the system to maintain their function activity. And it's related to a few important characteristics like endurance, ability, and duration of system for active functioning, and tolerance, resistance, ability of system to counteract of some negative factors, vulnerability and stability of system. Then you will be able to read more intently all my presentation, but I would like to say that security of component of social economic system depend on a few important factors, like a number of links which form the system, interval of parameters within the system can be active, critical parameters, including financial parameters. In 1 week ago, Anne told that food security in the world depend on some ability of people to buy some food. So it's critical, just financial parameters. And others indicators. Security is itself, security of the system is itself like a system, like a trinity, which depend on 3 groups of factors. Material factors, like material assets, information factors, it's algorithm of system, for program of system formation, and synergetic factors like communities, connection, links between some sub systems and so on. And now about just industrial revolution. Now we have to live in the same time in three industrial revolution, which is interrelated and mutually impact each to another. Very briefly about main characters of this revolution. The third industrial revolution, it's the main objective of this revolution. It's a transition to green economy and green society at our planet. It means the main instrument of this transition is alternative energy, additive technologies, and industrial accumulation of energy, which is related to alternative energy development, and very mystic themes. It's a horizontal distributed network. Industry 4 following from the third industrial revolution. Why? Then I'll try to show you concretely how these two revolutions connect each to another. But briefly, the implementation of alternative energy production and additive technology requires so higher informational complex system that the human cannot control of these production processes, and it's have to pass the processes of management of these systems to cyber-physical systems. So artificial cyber-physical system, robots and machines will control the production process. But people have to find own place in this industrial system. And fifth industrial revolution related to just this problem. Okay, I mentioned that links of production process is a very important indicator of which determine the security of the social economic system. And now you can see the links of traditional energy production, and each link, stages of production cycle is the sources of danger, of risks, and to reduce the number of these links means reduce the danger of this system. And now you can compare this traditional shale energy production and alternative energy production. Its energy production, renewable energy production, has only 4 critical stages. Otherwise, traditional has 4 very, very dangerous stages related to fuel production, fuel processing, fuel transporting, fuel storage, and now Russian army tried to destroy just these very important links. And third industrial revolution bring us not only the possibility, opportunity to get renewable energy, but a great diversity of technologies for solving this problem. And this picture, you can see windows, which at the same time are solar panels, solar electric station. This is also a solar station, and this solar station, and this human ears, which can be the basics of solar panels, just from human ear. And glass or water with salt or sugar might be as well the sources of energy. But we can take energy just from ear, like our Wi-Fi we use using electromagnetic waves. We can take energy from electromagnetic waves, and this is energy from wind, and without a great propeller, big propeller. But this is Canadian technologies like dirigible, and this is also generator wind energy. This is very high tower, more than a few hundreds meters. We can take energy from difference of tension of ear on different types. This is energy from movement. This is energy. Usually we know that wind energy is very noisy, but it's very silent energy generator. By the way, it's created by Ukrainian engineers. So what gives us, what does third industrial revolution give us in terms of material process and treatment on the basis of 3D printing? Now you can as well to compare these cycles on traditional subtractive production and additive production. We can remove through additive production a lot of stages of production cycle, and each stage can be sources of dangers or risks. And now we have wonderful.
Hello.
Yeah, hello.
Oh, I'm very good. Now I just received the letter from our higher office, family allowance. I hope that you start at Acroscope is going well from the Mareile Orsini Agroscope. So he wants some documents, family record book, family certificate, single person. He said he received something. We have received your application for family allowance. What's this?
Is it question? Okay. Can I continue my lecture? Irina.
Yes, you may. Please continue.
Yes, yes, sure.
Okay. Disruptive, we have wonderful disruptive technologies in terms of development of 3D printing, additive technology. It's American engineers presented us a 3D printer which can works with in the same time with 10 different materials, and it can use 3D scanning. So it's great advantages. And it is not fantasy, which I am telling you now. This picture I made in 300 meters from European Commission in Brussels. It's ordinary store, ordinary shop, and you can see these 3D devices, which cost from $100 to $1,000. In my eyes, in the same shop, in the same windows, I could see working 3D printer. And this is product probably produced by this 3D printer. Probably this is parts of some pump. And this is product is produced probably by 3D scanner. So, and now, very important thing about one principal part of third industrial revolution implementation. It's I mentioned about horizontal distributed network. This picture I took in German city Tübingen. You can see blue roofs on a lot of buildings. But at the same time, this is a solar power station. And why we need this network? Because this network has to connect small unit, production unit in unified whole system. And it means that now we have faced transition from big concentrated in the space enterprises, company capacity to deconcentrated, relocated in the space network of small unit. And this system has to solve very complicated technical problem because they have to connect to collect small currents from each of these roofs and to convert it in standard electricity, which has 220 volts, 50 hertz of frequency, electric current like 6 amperes, and this is only part of this complicated objective. But another part related to economic items. We must not only collect, but buy and sell this energy with tariffs which can change in every second during the daily. So only technical system, cyber system can control these processes. Human already cannot make hand in regime control this system. So this transition to network is very important part of our society. And it's very interesting that this was implemented in the Ukraine during the war, because each military regiment, each military part act independently. It's a great difference with Russian army. So self-organization of society became the main feature of future society. Industries results and outputs of industry third, fourth, and five gave a great contribution for social economic system security in condition of the war. And I'll try to tell a little bit about some of part of this security. For instance, energy security. What does it mean, energy security? It's access to energy sources in the required quantity at possible, acceptable price for this energy. And now a little bit about scale of energy destruction in Ukraine during the war. During the war, about thousands settlement, so cities, towns, villages became without electricity. More than a million, so exactly 700 consumers lost electricity, mostly in Donetsk region, Kharkov region, Lugansk region, Kiev, and so on. And Ukrainian people, workers, could restore this destruction. And again, electricity got, you can see a lot of thousands of people. But unfortunately, 30% of the Donetsk region cannot restore electricity, at least in near time. Same situation with gas supply. You can see these figures related with scale of energy destruction. And now, why Industry 3 gave additional opportunity to survive people during the war. During the 3 last year, Ukraine got real explosion of increasing of renewable energy production. And you can see these figures. And most miracle thing, this is private energy production increasing. Can it imagine that people pay from their private pockets 1 billion euros to create this renewable energy? And this is relocated in the space. And we had some cases when one neighbor save another neighbor and give him own electricity, which he got from this private small energy electricity station. By the way, this private energy system now is more, yes, it's destroyed too, but it's the scale of destruction less than industrial energy of renewable energy system. So dynamics of energy capacity, more than 1,200 megawatt. It's 1/10 of general solar energy production in Ukraine. Now about industrial energy production. Ukraine has very high pace of development of green energy. Ukraine is in top 10 countries in the world according to rhythm, speed of development of green energy, and top 5 in European countries. And in some cases, it's give opportunity for Ukraine to survive. Unfortunately, this renewable energy as well was destroyed very strong during the war. Approximately to 40% of this industrial renewable energy was destroyed. But in Kharkov region, absolutely 100% of industrial facilities were destroyed. But private cesses destroyed are destroyed much less, only 24 approximately percent. Wind as well, 2/3 of wind energy was destroyed. Biogas as well, strongly destroyed. And you can see now a picture of destruction in Mykolaiv, solar energy system in Kharkiv. This is private energy destruction. This is wind. It was a big propeller turbine, but you can see only remain of this turbulence. Destruction of biogas capacity, and this biogas plant. And now you can see why private energy power station save in some cases Ukrainian people. You can see that private energy stations are deconcentrated in this space. Each region has own private energy electricity. And Ukraine start already movement to creation of accumulation system. And Ukraine was in time to create a great industrial accumulation station in Zaporizhia region. Still, it's work, this station, fortunately, and I hope it will work in the future too. Okay, if somebody will interested, I will tell more detailedly now about decision of some concrete problem related with energy security, about economic instruments and so on. And what is very interesting thing, you can see it's like Mongol yurt, absolutely independent living society. living environment. And now a lot of Ukrainian family has similar. And even you can ask more detailedly Alexander Kubatka, which will continue my presentation. He has similar when he has independent all sources of energy, independent water, gas, so he can live a long time. Even he would not have central electricity, central water supply, and so on. Now about transport security. Transport security as well depend on a lot of indicators, including material assets, including staff, personnel, skills, financial supplement, and dangers of transport objects. A lot of people, unfortunately, were killed from Russian army. And transport infrastructure now is destroyed as well, very strong. But you can see bridges destroyed. This is bridge, and a lot of roads, ways are destroyed. But it's very important thing of transport security is traffic and opportunity of management of this traffic. And now we have a great opportunity related to development cars, automobile cars, and additional opportunity we have related with electric cars. Now we can see Sumy city in the beginning of 20th century. It's a real picture. In order to you can imagine the importance of traffic. It's a real picture 100 years ago. Now about electric cars. It's as well some miracle thing. During the only 3 previous years, the number of electric cars, private cars in Ukraine increased in a lot of times. And these electric cars gave opportunity to move people to western part of Ukraine during the military dangers. And for instance, professor of our university can bring their children and family only due to electric car, because it was not possible to get fuel at all. In our Sumy city, electric cars save our hospital, medical, voluntaries service, because it was even some lunch people who has electric car, please help us to bring some weights, some passengers, and so on. So electric cars presented by third industrial revolution is very important things during the war. And you can see as well a number of electric cars by regions of Ukraine, and diversity of these numbers in different regions. This is indicator of transport security of Ukraine. As well, who will be interested, you can read about economic instruments for development of this system. And very important system, I mentioned that our professor at our university could moved from Sumy region. It's located in just in north and east of Ukraine to the western part of Ukraine due to very developed system of charging station in Ukraine. Yellow station, it's power which higher power acceleration charging, and green it's ordinary charging. So we have very developed system of charging. By the way, for one terminal, Ukraine has the same number of cars as in Netherlands, which is leader in this process, and 4 cars for one terminal for charging. Poland has 7. You can compare these indicators. And drones, and now I today read that Ukraine has drone which can transport very heavy military facilities. And now I would like to give next my estafette to Alexander, which will tell about 3 very important parts of security of social economic system: cyber security, information security, and social security, which gave us by 4th and 5th industrial revolution. Alexander, are you ready?
Yes, Leonid, thank you. I'm trying to share my screen. 1 second.
Okay. If you have somebody's question, please ask me or Alexander.
Leonid, could you please leave the screen? I would share my presentation.
Okay.
1 second.
Is it okay? No?
I'm trying 1 second. I'm checking it. One second.
Okay, Alexander.
Yeah, do you see my screen?
Okay.
Okay, thank you, Leonid. Thank you for your information. Now we would continue speaking about the information security and cyber security. First of all, I would like to speak about the cyber security. So it is like a practice of protecting systems, networks, and programs from digital attacks. When we will see about the information what has happened in Ukraine just on the eve of the war, we would see that just on the February 22, there were a lot of DDoS attacks on the defense ministry, foreign ministry, culture ministry, and Ukraine's 2 largest state banks. The similar situation has happened in the mid-January 2022, when the state authority websites were disabled, and about 70 government websites were disabled simultaneously for some period. We do remember perfectly well when in 2017 the virus NotPetya has caused a lot of problems to Ukraine and all over the world, having caused about 10 billions of damage worldwide. When we speak about the cybersecurity, now we should say that the hackers attacks just in April, when the war already has started, the hackers targeted one of the largest energy companies in Ukraine. And by doing so, they wanted to shut down substations, and 2 million of people were under the risk of losing electricity. So living in 21st century, we understand that it's not only the real war which could damage the economy, which could damage the society, but it's different viruses, hackers, different cyber attacks. They could also, in a similar way, could destroy the economic system, and economic system would be very severely damaged. When we speak about cybersecurity, the foreign for Ukraine, experts, they say that Russia's military offensive in Ukraine has raised fears in the whole world, and those cyber attacks, they could have global consequences. That's why the whole states, not only separate companies, they have to invest more and more money to protect their fragile, they are very sensitive infrastructures, they are very sensitive technologies, not to be under the risk of cybersecurity attacks. The additional information is information security. When every one of us and the company also, they should protect their sensitive information from unauthorized activities, inspection, modification, recording, and so on. Because when we are not protecting our sensitive information, the damages could be very real, and somebody could make even a tangible cost, because attacks on private information, they could damage the company's reputation, financial data, and could have a very real tangible cost. How the industries 4.0 and 5.0 could help in mitigation those hackers attacks? First of all, the modern technologies, they allow to use the horizontal data. When the data is stored horizontally in many points, and you cannot destroy it. The transparency of data helps people, not only military people, but also the society, to see what is going on in real time. You could see everything through the webcams, which show information in real time, and you could make a proper decisions. That also the current technologies, they allow to make some predictions and predict some threats and provocations. When we speak about Ukraine, we need to say that about the internet connection of our households is about 80%. It's bigger in cities, almost 90%, and a little bit smaller in villages and rural areas. But the young families are almost 100% have access to internet. And during the war, the Starlink started to operate in Ukraine, and about 200,000 of users are currently using that internet. The mobile phones is used almost by the whole population, the same like TV. And when we speak about the social nets, 93% of young population, they use social nets. all those information security and cyber security, they're necessary to guarantee the social security, because we need to protect our population by ensuring economic well-being, life support system. We need to create healthy and informative environment, and also meeting the needs of present and future generations. All those things are the components of social security. The industries 3 and 5.0, they could help to social security by preserving the national information unity. It could help through the data, the information. They could help to evacuate to more safer regions during the war. The people are receiving UBI, unconditional basic incomes, and many people in Ukraine are working with data. They're working like freelancers, and freelancing became very popular in Ukraine. Officially, about 1 million of people are doing freelance. Those are independent workers, researchers who are doing their job in internet, and they are earning money. When we calculate freelancers per capita, Ukraine is top 3 countries in the world in freelance per capita. When we speak about the number of freelancers, Ukraine is top 5 in the world, and about 44% of freelancers, they are in informational technologies. Then we have a lot of designers, and the rest are translations, illustrations, marketing, and so on. So it's very often, and it's needed to create like even the army of self-employed people who can guarantee their salaries by themselves, by their brains, and could support also their country by their job. You could see how the freelance was growing in Ukraine, and it really relates to social security of our state, because if during like in less than 10 years, we have like an exponential growth of freelancers in Ukraine. They help to support domestic economy in Ukraine. They are promoting Ukrainian entrepreneurs abroad. They're developing Ukrainian startups in the world, and they help to the social stability and social security of our country. Thank you to all of you. If there are some questions, we may answer them. So that's all for the presentation. Thank you.
Thank you, Alexander. Do you have any questions, colleagues and students? Please write in the chat, or maybe announce your question. Really. Maybe.
I'd like to underline that Ukraine show the opportunity, the ability to survive during the so hard condition of war, not only to continue to live just like biological organism, people in Ukraine, but to act like personality, like economic system. So it's demonstrated their ability for functioning and to maintain their social and economic security. So maybe somebody would interesting with some question.
May I ask Alexander? Alexander, what do you think, what may be the consequences of increasing number of freelancers in Ukraine? I mean, for our budget, state budget, do will they pay taxes? And because we have a high level of corruption and untrust of our population to our government, how do you think, what will be the consequences or what we should do in this situation?
Okay, thank you, Irina, for your question. Definitely, it's like every person should like pay taxes officially, and if those freelancers are working not efficiently, probably some of them are not paying taxes, and in a such a way they like supporting to some extent the shadow economy in Ukraine. But still, the positive of freelance is also very big. Because they are receiving salaries, they are paid from abroad, those money are coming to Ukraine, then those freelancers, they're spending those money buying Ukrainian products, buying national commodities, buying services, and in such a way they are also stimulating the growth of domestic GDP by creating a demand for the commodities and for the service. But definitely, if all of them are working officially and paying taxes, such an army of freelancers of about 1 million officially, but not officially even more, they could easily like support many industries, and they could change the existence of many industries because their increment to GDP is also very big due to the salaries which are currently in freelance and in information technologies. They are much bigger than in usual industries in Ukraine.
And do you have any estimations? What is the share maybe of shadow economy between freelancers or not?
No, it's very hard to predict and very hard to say. I have not seen such figures about the share.
I mean, maybe we have more information society than actually we have officially rate. Maybe, or maybe not. So it depends.
I have not seen such information about the shadow economy.
Formal prediction. I met in the network, in internet, that prediction of number of freelancers for 2030, more about 2 million. So about 20% of working people. It's huge number. It means that everybody can obtain their job, their financial condition, their rest, their regime of work, and rest and their commitment for his or her family. It's a great difference with the style of life in the Russia, where everything is defined by top level paternalism. So our freelancer is very great power of our society.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
I have a question about the electric cars. I was really impressed with the number of people who have electric cars in Ukraine. And a couple of questions, are they completely electric? Or are they hybrid where it's part gas, part electric? And you may have already mentioned it, are they made in Ukraine or are they bought from Germany, Netherlands, or other countries?
Okay, maybe Alexander is driver now active. I'm driver in the past, but we have some part of hybrid, but mostly we have pure electric car, and maybe half of these are imported from USA secondhand.
Really? Okay.
But in the same time, For instance, I mentioned about my colleague who used Tesla, but the passport duration of the movement, or more exactly, the distance, 400 kilometers, but he had to keep about 300 kilometers between different charging. So it was quite successful. But we have a lot of cars which has maximum 200 kilometers. But I think we have to think not only because about our tactic, current problem, but our surviving of our world by strategy. And in terms of strategy, our thinking, I think the electric, our transport is the future. For instance, now, together with your university, we try to start the program of development of green university in our my native university, with development of both green energy system and green transport system. Because surviving in this situation when we do not have fuel supply at all, that electric transport is only system for our surviving, including electric transport at the railway station. By the way, we have mostly in Ukraine railway electric transport station, and it was great opportunity to evacuate people from eastern part of Ukraine to western part of Ukraine. And now in our city, we have trolley bus. And trolley bus, some part of trolley bus has modern system with accumulator, and some part during the destruction of line, it can use with accumulation system. So hybrid is a good idea, and maybe one third of our electric car has hybrid idea in Ukraine.
Yeah, Leonid, I want to add a little bit. Ukraine is producing electric buses, big buses, and there were also like options to start production electric tractors on our factories. And electric buses, they are very popular because they could drive up to 250 kilometers, which is very good for the city.
I just want to add in a little bit about in the United States, and this is my understanding. I'm no authority. When you have companies like Tesla, just say Ford, whatever, the car companies who are developing the electric cars, I think that the money that they get to actually develop them comes from investors. A lot of it comes from investors. So like stock market, what they call hedge funds, angel investors, and then the way it works on the consumer end, like people like me who maybe would buy an electric car, there are tax credits. So I think for now Tesla, I don't know, but I saw recently a tax credit of $4,000 for this one electric car, which is actually fairly substantial because it takes the amount of tax you owe per year, it takes $4,000 off of it, which is pretty substantial. So anyway, there's like the production end of electric cars, where a lot of it is by private funding. And then the government make some money available to consumers to enable them to buy it. So, because that's where I think there may be a difference in European production of cars, but I don't know. Like, I don't know the names of electric cars in Europe, but who is putting the money into it? Maybe it's companies like Volkswagen or Audi. You know, they're not necessarily relying on investors. So, but I thought that was an interesting thing. I don't know in Ukraine what they do, if it's like entirely government driven, or if there's like some private sector money that's going into the production. I'm curious about how that works.
Okay, and thank you. Mainly it is like private money which are invested in production of electric buses in Ukraine. We also have the same as you say, some tax credits for buying electric cars in Ukraine. You don't need to pay when you want to buy a new car from Europe or from US. You don't need to pay the VAT. Value added tax, but when you buy a usual car, you pay those 20% of VAT, and 20% it could be like a very substantial sum when the car is like expensive. Electric cars, they are free of VAT. You do not need to pay those 20% extra. And very popular in Ukraine, which cars they Nissan, Renault, Volkswagen. It's like a brand which are very popular in Ukraine and which are purely electric, and Toyota is like a hybrid, but also there could be purely electric. So there are Ukrainian market of electric cars. It's very broad. A lot of brands is present here, and about 50,000, 34,000 of cars already view at the end of 2021, but currently even more of them are driving our roads.
Wow. Here they're very expensive. So
I would like to add, if it's possible, and Ukraine is leading, at least in Europe, for development of a green revolution. And unfortunately, we had wonderful program to give opportunity for people not to buy an electric car, but to rent. Have now this system, but it's very great, very big percent for renting, about 15%. But we had, just before the war, we had to start this program to rent, for people rent a car, electric car, for very low percent, like 5 or 3% a year. So unfortunately, it stopped by the war. But I would like to say that Ukraine and the whole world, it's only in the beginning of way for transition to new life. It's like maybe you remember the Kipling story about Trump or the elephant. When he got Trump, he could not manage this Trump, but then he tried to learn how to manage it. So I think we will be more brave to use our opportunity and our gifts from our modern industrial revolution.
All right, thank you.
Yes, thank you.
More questions, audience? No? Okay, well, if you have no questions, I would like to thank to Leonid and Alexander. And I'd like to remind you that next Friday we will have the third lecture with Anna Alberini and with me about energy security So I invite you to participate in it next Friday at the same time. And now, thank you for all of you and see you next Friday. Bye-bye.
Yeah, bye-bye. Thank you, Irina.
Bye-bye. Marina, are you
Thank you, goodbye.
still? Марина довольна сьогоднішнім лекцією? Задоволена? Плотнікова чи ні? Ну, добре.